Let's talk, chat. First off, what's up, everybody? My name is D Flawless. Welcome. Thanks for clicking on the video. Thanks for being here. And today we're going to be talking about Trials. If you don't know, this week in Trials, there was a glitch in the confidence card, which allowed players who had already been flawless in the season to pick up a confidence card from Saint 14 in the tower. And after 7 wins, they would be rewarded the adept weapon for that week, which in this case was the Shayura's Wrath. Bungie has since then come out and said that they're not going to be patching it. They're going to let players go ahead and earn the adept weapon this week for 7 wins. So the way it works is if you've been flawless in the season, you pick up a confidence card, you get to 7 wins, and from thereafter, every win has a chance to drop the Shayura's Wrath. Just for an example, I did this. I partook. The Bungie actually encouraged people to partake because this was the last chance to get the adept Shayura's Wrath. And I got like out of maybe 5 or 6 wins after the 7th win, we got 3 Shayura's Wrath, and I was able to get what I consider one of my god roles, one of the roles that I was going for. And it just really made me feel that Trials as it is right now, not this week with the glitch, but as it is right now, the way it's currently constructed, it needs to change. It needs to change. It's not working. It's not working. We have a lot of trial streamers, which I am not. I am not a trial streamer. I am not a PvP sweat guy. I like PvP. I spend a lot of time in PvP. I'm fairly decent at PvP, but I by no means am the guy you want to go to for a carry. So I'm speaking more from a casual standpoint. But what I can tell you is that I felt the urge to stay in Trials this week more than any other week that Trials has been around, with the exception of maybe week 1 last season, which was universally praised and Bungie was given roses and everything. And then they decided to change it. They added the flawless pool. They added all these other things, which there's pros and cons to everything. So this isn't necessarily a flawless pool discussion, although we can definitely get into the flawless pool and things like that. But what I would really like to see is I would like to see more player time investment cared for. And what I mean by that is this week, I felt like my time was respected. There have been weeks where I've spent hours, I've spent 4 or 5 hours, and have been not able to get past 3 wins, not able to get past 5 wins, let alone go flawless. There have been weeks I've been able to go flawless because I have some really skilled friends. We were able to join up and go flawless. But if I ever wanted to hop in, maybe with an LFG group or solo queue, since that's a thing now, it's so hard to get wins, and let alone 3 wins. And you then have the added problem of the flawless pool being added. So people are just avoiding the flawless pool. So now these people who are normally going to be going flawless regularly, or who are normally not going to be at my level of the card, now I'm matching those people and now I can't win. This is just my personal perspective. So this week really opened up my eyes to the fact that Trials needs to be changed, and I think the way to do it is to keep this glitch as it is right now and make it a feature. Meaning, you load up into Trials and you play however long you're gonna play. And if you want to compromise and put a loss stipulation on this, that's fine. You can say you can't have more than 3 losses on your card. I don't think there needs to be a loss stipulation. I think it should just be you go into Trials, you get 7 wins, and once you get the 7 wins, you start dropping adept loot. Because people want that adept loot, and some of the frustration with Trials is that people feel locked out of it. It's so hard to go flawless if you're not a dedicated, skilled PvP player. And I don't think that's giving it away, because it can take somebody a full weekend to get those 7 wins in a Trials card. So if you keep this glitch and you allow players to go and get their 7 wins, and then after that, it starts dropping adept loot for everyone, I think that's a benefit. And you can still keep the flawless aspect of it, but I think flawless needs to transition to more of you get more cosmetic rewards for flawless. So the mementos, maybe you get an extra adept weapon from the chest. Mementos, shaders, different things like that, ornaments, ships, sparrows, ghosts. You can keep all that locked behind the flawless chest because it's prestigious. You're going to get the prestige of having those ornaments and those cosmetics that not everyone is going to have access to. I originally pitched the idea of maybe you throw enhanced perks in the flawless chest. That was kind of mixed reactions, so I'll leave that for chat to decide. But I really think that adept loot should not be locked behind the flawless chest. I think it should be difficult to achieve. I think it should require a significant time investment, but it should not require perfection. And right now it requires perfection because you have to have a 7-0 card if you're not counting the mercy. So that's just my thoughts on it. I think this glitch needs to stay. I think it needs to be added as a feature. I think players should have easier access to adept loot because it's some of the best in-game loot you can acquire. But that's just my 2 cents on it. So I'm going to open it up to chat. Chat, what do you think? How did you feel about this week? Did you play? What do you think needs to happen? Dawn Store, I think you hit the nail on the head with respect to time investment. Fastest flawless are still like 30 minutes. That's 2 arms dealer GMs. So being able to play more games without flawless and getting adept weapons really makes me think that my time is rewarded. Exactly. There have been a lot of false comparisons or false equivalencies made to, well, why don't you just let people who can't play GMs, why don't you let everyone get adept loot that drops from the GMs? That is not the same thing. First of all, a GM, a Grandmaster, is a controlled PvE environment. So there's no human element. Once you get in there and you learn where the ads spawn, you learn what the shields are, you learn what weapons you need to do, you can go in there and it's easily farmable and it's one stop short of a guarantee. Trials is not that. There's a human element. You're going up against really skilled players. You're going up against players using cheesy loadouts. Sometimes you're going up against straight up cheaters. You're going against people who are not going flawless so they can stay in the lower pools. It is not the same thing. They are not equivalent at all. I get the notion that if you make one thing easy, people just recoil at the thought of, okay, well, we're making PvP easier to get adept loot. Well, let's just make PvE easier to get adept loot. No, that's not the same. I think making adept loot from trials easier to achieve would be bringing it in line with the level of difficulty of a GM, because you can run in the time it takes one team to run a GM. Let's say they're struggling, right? Let's say they're really struggling. It takes them an hour to run a GM. They're going to get that loot. They're going to get those ascendant shards. They're going to get their adept weapons. They're going to get they're going to get their loot. And that same team, it could take them 5, 6, 7, 8 hours to go flawless on a trials card. It's not the same investment. It's apples and oranges. Last time it took me a huge amount of hours to get 7 victories. Yeah, not everyone plays PvP. And the thing people need to realize is that Bungie is a mostly PvE game. So there's more people spending time in PvE. There's more people spending time in Control than there are people spending time in the competitive playlist, and especially in Trials, because they know that is a dedicated, sweaty, competitive environment. It's their most competitive environment. That's where people go to try hard. So it's not the same. What else you got, chat? What do you think? Yeah, this is going on. This is going on YouTube. We're not going to spam Bungie. We're going to hope that they watch it. But that's why I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your conversation. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you have any other ideas? Because I don't want it to just be me speaking. I want all of our thoughts to be represented, because this is all going to be uploaded. For what it's worth, I got flawless in my confidence card to 7 wins. It took me 9 hours to get flawless and another 5 for confidence to 7. So that's 16 hours for 2 adepts. There you go. You prove my point right there, Dawn Store. It can take someone 9 hours. Just think, in 9 hours, how many GMs can you run? If every GM takes you 1 hour, that's 9 to 2. It's not the same. I do think that the farmability between the two modes to be equipped. I do think that the farmability between the two modes needs to be equivalent since they both offer in-game loot. What if after 7 wins, your card has to be reset? So Drew, are you saying after 7 wins, you get an adept drop and your card needs to be reset? I think that hurts the farmability of it because then you're requiring another 7 wins. And like Dawn said, it could take you 9 hours to get to 7 wins. So I don't think that's the play. I think you should require the 7 wins. I literally think they should just take the bug as it is right now. It's perfect. It's like, this is the best bug anyone can ever hope for in this environment. Take the bug as it is right now. You get to 7 wins. You know, maybe it's not on the confidence card. Maybe you create your own card, and you get to 7 wins, and thereafter every win has a chance to drop adept loot. Call it the passage of forgiveness or something like that. You know, not, you know, mercy, whatever. You know, make up something cool, work it into the lore. But then it becomes farmable because you've already climbed the hill, right? You've already climbed the hill. You got 7 wins. You still don't have the adept weapon. I'm not saying drop it at 7. I'm saying keep it just like it is. Now you got to get to win number 8 so you get your chance. And now you really incentivized to stay in the playlist. You keep going because if I get to win 8, I can get a Shires. If I get to win 9, I can get another one. I can keep going. You're keeping people in the player base. And if you make them reset their card, I think a lot of people are just going to be like, nah, I'm out. I can't do this again. And that ultimately hurts the Trials experience when there's fewer people playing. Papa Midnight, to be honest, I feel like that the flawless pool shouldn't be a thing. Splitting the player base will always lead to certain people finding workarounds in the system, i.e. 6 win reset cards. Exactly. A lot of people have spoken extensively about this. I think the flawless pool, it does have its benefits. I was in Grenader Jake's stream just yesterday. He was talking about this. The flawless pool does have its benefits in that it does help people who are normally unable to go flawless. It helps those people to go flawless. I'm one of them. Again, I'm one of them. So I'm not this Trials guy who's like, I'm not screaming at clouds. I'm one of those people who on a good week, I'm not going to be able to go flawless unless I have really good teammates playing with me. But I think we're splitting the player base, number 1, and number 2, we're encouraging cheesy behavior and we're encouraging workaround. P.S. Mirandy, I think they need to give away something to the tryharders in Trials like that memento or some special air. Yeah, so that's what we talked about. Keep the lighthouse loot special. And the way you make that special is you give exclusive cosmetics, and that's where you plant your flag. You say you can't have this shader. Make them one-time use shaders, but just for those Trials players. Kind of similar to the way mementos work right now. Keep those mementos, those ghosts, those ships, those sparrows, keep all that locked in the lighthouse loot. And you can't have it unless you go flawless. You can get the weapon, so we're not going to affect your gameplay, but if you want to look cool, if you want to be shiny like these guys, you have to go to the lighthouse. And that, I think, still keeps the prestige of going to the lighthouse. I think the biggest issue is giving the tryhards reasons to go for flawless. Are cosmetics enough? Maybe they could also get a ghost mod that increases PvP drops more than before. Okay. So you're saying similar to the way that, enhanced ghost shell perks, Scarecrow? Remember back in D1 when you would complete a nightfall, you would get like this aura and it like increased your XP or something like that. So what if, okay, let's follow this train of thought, Scarecrow. What if you go flawless and it would have to be on a weekly reset. You can't just have this be a flat thing, right? So you go flawless for the week and then your Trials ghost, it gets enhanced prosperity perks. So right, your PvP prosperity is enhanced, so now you have a chance to get an extra drop during the PvP match. That could work. Birthplace with Vile Lightblade have similar time commitments so far on my end. King Liko, I 100% agree with you, Flawless. I've been playing Destiny since D1 and I've never received any Trials gear because for someone like me who is not a PvP player, that loot is completely unobtainable for me. Yeah. Do you really want loot that is going to be unobtainable? And not only that, like really, really good loot that can help you in in-game activities. Do you really want that? Do you think that contributes to a healthy player base? Dawn Store, I don't think I should be used as a statistic. I have a 0.44 KD though, so I'm really bad and got carried pretty hard. Yeah, but that is an important statistic though. There's probably more people like you than there are people with with a 2.4 KD or 4.4, whatever you want to say. Call it passage of flawless. How many adepts did you get after your 7th win, and how long was the time investment? So I got 4 adepts. I think I deleted 1 and I kept 3. So I got like 4 out of 7, and it probably after the 7th win, no, it was like 4 out of 5. I had a really good drop rate. It was like 4 out of 6 or 4 out of 7 where I won and got a weapon. So it was really good. I felt great. I got a really good Shiras. I think I'm gonna go back in and see if I can get 1 or 2 more. See if I can get like the perfect one. But that's just the thing. I'm not this guy who's like, oh, I want to play Trials. I'm usually like, what's the bare minimum I want from this Trials experience? And once I get that, I'm out. My point is, you don't always get drops when completing GMs, and you have to go back in. Getting 7 wins is tough and maybe harder than a GM, but getting 1 win is not equivalent to a GM completion. Drew, that's true, but when's the last time you ran a GM or saw someone run a GM and they didn't at least get an adept weapon? It's all but guaranteed. There's maybe 1 out of 10 times you don't get the adept. And usually once you're in a spot where you can complete a GM, let's say it takes you 30 minutes, you can go back in another 30 minutes. So now you're definitely going to get it 1 out of the 2 times. So you can't equate that. Keep the cosmetics at the lighthouse. Yeah. Have adept perks for ghosts if you go to the lighthouse. Yeah, I think that's a good idea that came out of this discussion. I think if you have adept ghost perks, adept sparrow perks, maybe a lighthouse person's sparrow is faster than everyone else, and everyone's like, how'd you get that sparrow? He's like, you gotta go flawless, baby. That's just always on time. Yeah, every trial sparrow is basically just always on time. Trials as it is now and certain PvE activities lead to ego players, and for me that's not healthy to the player base. Yeah, I agree. AC Drew, thanks for the follow. Also, H Saeed, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the Diamond Club. I agree. The goal of Trials, there's like 2, maybe 3 main goals of Trials that I feel should be the main goals of Trials. It should be an in-game reward source. It should have a healthy player base, and it should not feel, and it should be fun, right? In-game loot, healthy player base, fun. I think those are like the 3 main components that need to be for Trials. And I don't think right now it's achieving 1 of the 3 the way it is. No, Drew, I think I just had good RNG with the drops. I saw some people go like 3 or 4 matches without getting one. So it's all relative. I just got really good RNG. And Drew, you're also missing the part that those drops only come after the 7 wins. The 7 wins part, you can't start the clock after the 7 wins, because that 7 wins can take someone 7 hours. You see what I'm saying? It's unfair to start the clock after win 7. You have to start it from 0 wins, and you have to go to win 7 and beyond. That's the time investment. That's the actual time investment. I love Destiny, but do not do well or enjoy much PvP. I've never won in Trials, and because the rewards are so difficult to obtain, I didn't ever think I could, so I didn't care to play. Changes like what D suggests would make it obtainable for bad PvP players like me. Yeah, it'll take you a lot longer. A good player will be able to get more faster, but you're not locked out of it. There's a time investment question here because, yeah, Dawn's basically saying what I said. Love this honest conversation we're having this week. This is where great ideas come from. Absolutely, Crimson. We can't be afraid to have conversations. I'd like to do more conversations. like this. So if you guys have topics you want me to discuss, I really like this. I like just hanging out and talking with you guys, kind of like we do with the Guardian Drip session. ! Drip, by the way, if you want me to rate your Guardian. Mr. Switch, what about a card that takes away a win in your streak, so you also need more wins to go to the lighthouse? 14 wins, but -1 every time you lose. I think that's complicated for complicated's sake. Yeah, I think that's getting cute with the Trials cards. I respect where you're coming from with it. But I don't know who would pick up that card. You know what I mean? I wouldn't pick up that card. I would just try to go flawless rather than, basically trying to go flawless twice. The other thing that I think that is discounted from this conversation is you need flawless at least once this season to get the confidence card. That's a good point, Dawn. So in my idea of carrying this glitch over forward, I'll put it to you, chat. What do you think? Do you think the have to have been flawless requirement should go? I think it should. I think at 7 wins, you should start dropping a depth loot regardless of whether or not you've been flawless. I think this is where my casual is showing because I doubt I'm completing a GM in 30 minutes, but maybe I'm imagining GMs to be harder than they actually are. No, that's fair. It can take you, we did one the other day and we were at like 45 minutes. So let's just say it takes an hour, right? A GM shouldn't take an hour, but let's just say a GM does take an hour. That's 1 hour for an almost guaranteed adept drop. For a person to get 7 wins in trials, just the 7 wins. That's not even the win after 7, just the 7 wins. It could take that person 4 to 6 to 7 hours. An hour per win to get those 7 wins before they even have a chance to get adept drops. That's why it's not a fair comparison. You think flawless at least one should still be required? Why do you feel that way? Keep the sweats happy? Is that really who we're trying to please? I'm not saying they don't matter, but is that who we're gonna cater to because they're so positive and they contribute so much to the game? Keep the streamers happy? No, you guys got to realize I played Destiny every day since D1 for 7 years before I even turned on a camera and started streaming. I am a casual. I am a Destiny fan. Like I don't speak as a streamer for streamers, like from a streamer standpoint. I say all this stuff from a person who just genuinely loves the game and plays the game. Looking forward to seeing trial stats this week. I guarantee you it's gonna be one of the best weekends in trials. There's no way it's not. I kind of feel that way too, Dawns. I think this is a test disguised as a bug. I feel that way would give lesser skilled teams time to practice and get coordinated, and the feeling of wow, I did it would be the new mindset instead of I can't do it. But are you saying that the cosmetics and potentially the extra weapons and whatnot is not enough of a driver for those teams to still attempt to go flawless to get those things? Because there are teams right now, I guarantee you, no hyperbole. What's up, Joe? I guarantee you there's teams right now, there's players right now who have been trying to go flawless since this season began, and they can't win a raffle, they can't find a good LFG team, they're not good enough, their teammates aren't good enough, or they run up against cheater, they run up against a cheesy loadout, or the stars just don't align, and they have been trying. So what? Tough? You can't play with this in-game loot. Go run a GM. What if they're tired of running GMs? What if they want to get their hands on the thing? I don't think we need to lock it behind flawless. I think 7 wins is hard enough. I think 7 wins to a team that's struggling is going to give that exact same feeling of wow, I did it. You know what I mean? I think it's going to give that exact same feeling to that team of going flawless. At the end of the day, I think whatever gets more people to play has to be the focus. They should have more than enough data to determine that. They just need to commit to making it more fun across the board rather than the most elite playlist in FPS games ever. Agreed, Scarecrow. Agreed. Texas Legend, I think keeping this bug for adept weapons are fine for the most part. The majority of the player base are casual PvPers, so keeping majority happy keeps the lights on. I don't think just cosmetics are enough for the tryhard trials players though. We might see how successful some of these guys like Frostbolt or Cammy Cakes or Jake are now, but we didn't see the hundreds of hours they put into getting that good. Maybe an extra perk slot or armor like the Avarice dungeon could be nice. Put 1 armor set. I really like that, Texas Legend. Put 1 armor set in easily farmable dungeon and made an extra perk slot and armor like the Avarice dungeon could be nice. Put 1 armor. Yeah, guys, Texas Legend is spitting right now. I think that's exactly the answer, right? I think you nailed it, Texas Legend. I think you can do the extra ghost perks if you want, but if we don't do the extra ghost perks and we just do what Texas Legend is saying, and we give an extra perk slot on the flawless loot and make the flawless armor avarice style with the extra slot, I think that's enough. I think that's enough. I really like that. I think that's fair. I think that's fair and balanced because players can still get the weapon, and if they want the role, they have to continue to stay in the playlist, increasing the playlist, the player base, and making the overall community more healthy. And the ones that go flawless will have a better chance of getting the role with those extra slots, and they'll have better armor. They'll have in-game level armor. The players who are just doing the 7 wins, they can still get that armor, but they're not going to get that extra slot. I think that's fair. I think that's a fair trade-off. No one feels left out. I get your point. Yeah. I got spanked all weekend so I could get the messenger role on the first reset track. Not sure if this matters, but one key difference is you can solo queue trials and eventually get wins. GM require a pre-made team. Yeah. I think it's easier to find a team for GMs than it is for trials though. Because usually if a person is leveled up enough to play GMs, you know, they're at least committed to Destiny, right? So they're probably going to do well. And it might take you guys a few tries, but you'll get it done. Artifice armor from Flawless will be a really, really good way to do it. Yeah, I agree, Texas. That's a good idea, Texas Legend. I'm glad you chimed in with that. I came late, so you may have already covered it, but I like the idea of Adepts or Lighthouse rewards having multiple conditions, like win 7 games in a row or win 21 games total. 21 is that's a lot, Hecatron. That's a lot to ask for like, you gotta realize not everyone can play this every day. But what about the guy who's decent? He's decent enough to win 7 games in a night, but 21 is just out of the question. It might take him 4 hours and he can grind it out and he can get to 7 wins. Now you're saying he's got to triple that? I don't know if that's the way to go. Will someone please just carry me though? Just a for instance. I get your main point, Hecatron. It can have multiple conditions. I think that still falls into the trap of just complicating it for the sake of complicating it. The crux, you like that word, chat? Crux. The crux of my argument, the crux of like where my position is from, like where I plant my flag on the position, is that it is already, for most players, simply getting 7 wins with however many losses you want to count. Simply getting 7 wins is a very difficult task, and they should be rewarded for that. That's where I'm coming from. There's people out there whose 7 wins can take 7 hours. What's up, War Demon? I think we kind of nailed it. I really like Texas Legends idea. Take 7 hours on the current pool for sure. Yeah, exactly. Improving, giving more people more reason to play and to stay in is the answer. Keeping people out is not the answer. Keeping people out continues the problem. Making people not want to, like if somebody's going to look at that, just, you know, and I know you weren't, but just using that as an example. Let's say it was incentive is the key. Yeah, son of Kimbria's got it. Let's just say someone looked at it and was like, man, I gotta get 21 wins now. I'm just gonna run GMs. Like, they're not gonna do it. But versus something like, man, all I gotta do is get 7 wins. I don't have to go flawless and I can get the loot, you know? Yeah, I'm not gonna get the artifice armor or the extra perk slots, but I can at least get the weapon and get my hands on the weapon and try it. Make it high stat. Oh yeah, this low stat armor stuff is just infuriating. Yo, Flash, what's up, baby? I've been the same age for 8 years, especially when you're gonna get bad constantly. Yeah, somebody's gonna go into trials. They're gonna go against streamers, people who are carrying sweats, cheaters, everything. They're gonna get bagged after every kill. Like, you want them to go in and have that end goal in mind. If you go in and you win the first match, he's like, oh man, I only need 6 more. You win another one, man. I'm so close. And that's that. What is it? That's that adrenaline rush. That's that shot of endorphins. Is it endorphins? Shot of endorphins. That's just gonna keep people like, I'm so close. I gotta stay in. I hate myself and do solo trials. I would ride that pain train if there's a chance at a depth loot at the end. See, that's the point, Crimson. Like, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. A lighthouse, if you will. Hey! So are adept weapons a failure then? They're being treated as the weapon in trials. I can already get the weapon non-adept fairly easily, and the adepts aren't that much better. If we're going to open up the prestige, do they have a point? Well, there is a point. The adept weapons can have the adept mods. They also have a different shader, so there's a bit of a cosmetic thing. And it says adept on the weapon, so it looks cool in the kill feed. You can't have it be head and shoulders above everything. But you're arguing from the point of, well, I can just get the weapon and it's not adept, so why do I need to try to get seven wins? That's a perfectly fine stance to take, but again, that even further proves my point, because you're going to go in there and you're going to say, I just want the regular version, but you're going to be in the player base, and there's going to be another team who goes in there and maybe they start off as saying, I just want the regular version, and they get their 3 wins and they get the regular version, and then they realize, hey, I only need 4 more wins and I can get the adept version. I can put adept mods on, and they might stay in. You can't have weapons that are just head and shoulders above everything. It's incremental differences that are meaningful but not game changing. And adepts have extra slots. Yeah, there's no way around the fact that more people in a PvP mode will always 100% make that mode feel better and more balanced for everyone involved. Agreed. And to be fair, if you could unlock it fairly easily and the confidence card was always available for someone other than flawless, the acquisition rate for people who can't go flawless will remain very low but not unattainable. Yeah, there's still prestige there. And I think if you want to have it, again, I'm not arguing for this, but I think a fair compromise from Bungie would be, well, we don't want to guarantee people adept loot. I would first say that, getting 7 wins is not a guarantee. That'd be my first counterpoint. And then I would be like, well, if you want to put a loss cap on it, you can, maybe cap it kind of like the way cards work now. At 3 losses, your card resets. I just don't think requiring perfection is the way. I think it was fun. It was cool. It was exclusive when it first came out, but I think the player base has evolved to the point where, and Guardians are so much more deadly. People are so much more skilled at the game. I don't think we need to require perfection from teams. The way I see it, you need to feel like you're investing your time, not wasting your time when it comes to Destiny 2, which is the reason I don't play too many Trials. Yeah, Trials can definitely feel like a waste of time if you're not winning. I've felt that for sure. When I on bad cards, I've definitely felt that way. All right, I think we got it. That's about a 45-minute discussion we just had. You guys made some amazing points, some amazing arguments. Thank you so much for contributing. Rain says, I don't play Trials because I feel like a burden getting carries or just wasting my time. Exactly. I mean, that's kind of just what we mentioned, Rain. But that's going to be it for this discussion, guys. Thank you so much. If you like these types of discussions, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. We have a goal of 3,000 subscribers, which we're very close to, so help us hit it. Smash, elbow drop, drop kick, whatever you got to do to that like and subscribe button. Just do it, get it done. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace out.